Good afternoon and welcome to Yana. As we come together this afternoon for conversation and understanding. And our title for today is Resistance is Futile: How to Live in an Ever-Changing World. One of my favorite TV shows several years ago was Doctor Who. And if any of you have ever seen Doctor Who, you know that his arch enemy was the Daleks. And they were little robots that went around rolling and saying, resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. And that's all they ever said. And every time when I saw this title, I thought, resistance is futile. We as teachers and students of religious science and Centers for Spiritual Living philosophy understand that what we resist persists. And many times we resist even those things that we want to happen because we like to stay exactly as things are. And if we look at nature, we see that resistance is futile. If you have ever been caught in a riptide, which fortunately I never have, but if you try to swim across the tide, you become exhausted and you may well drown. If you are driving a car and you start sliding on the ice or the water, and you try to resist the slide and you turn away from it, you compound what is going on, where if you will turn into it, you can get out of it. But we are actually going to look at resistance today from the idea of quicksand. But before we look at that, I want to read to you the definition of resistance from the Science of Mind textbook, or non-resistance rather. Non-resistance is fighting any adverse condition only increases its power over us because we are making it a reality. Someone has said that the language of resistance is pain. But non-resistance finds the harmony of the universe and swings into its motion, going with the stream of power which nurtures and protects. Resistance is the offspring of fear and ignorance. Non-resistance is the offspring of love. The glossary also says, resist resistance. To resist is an obstacle, hinder, check, thaw, counteract, oppose. Resistance is the act of striving against. So today we're going to look at resistance, and we're going to look at the idea of resistance, and we're going to look at ways to live in a non-resistant way. And again, we're going to look at the idea of quicksand. And I found the instructions on how to get out of quicksand on the internet several years ago. Fortunately, I've not had this experience either, so if anybody has, we can share about it in discussion. But they say if you ever step into quicksand, the first thing to do is drop everything. Because the more you weigh, the more you're weighed down, the quicker you will sink. And the quicker that sand grabs onto you. And think about it a minute. If you're in a situation that you want to resist, the lighter you can be as you think about and react to this situation, the better off you are. And the same thing is in quicksand. If you are absolutely standing strong in your resistance, you're stuck. And you're not going anywhere. You're just stuck, which is true in the quicksand. The harder the soles are on your shoes and boots in quicksand, the quicker you will sink and the deeper you will get stuck. And just think, the harder the stance we take against change, the more difficult it is to ride through that change, and the more emotional, physical, and mental stress we're going to have around the whole thing. The next thing you do if you're stuck in quicksand is, instead of stepping forward, you step sideways. You move in a different direction. You take a little different look at what's going on. And the same can be said when we're stuck in resistance to what's going on around us. Sometimes just continuing on the same path only brings us more and more pain. But if we're willing to take a step to the side or a step back, we may be able to get a totally new perception and perspective, and be able to move off our stuckness and to give ourselves some release. And here is my favorite thing to do if you're stuck in quicksand. You're supposed to actually lay on your back. You're just supposed to relax there in the quicksand. And when your feet begin to come up, you roll on your side and grab for the shore. How many times when we are stuck in our life experiences, is it that if we just take a deep breath and relax, that we begin to see other options? We begin to understand that this is not the end of the world. We begin to understand that change is inevitable. I think the old saying is, there's only two things that are absolutely guaranteed, and those are death and taxes. I think we can also add change to that. Because if you think about it, if you are stepping into a river, you never step into the same river twice. Even if you step in with your right foot and step in your left foot, that river has changed in between those steps because it is constantly moving. And our lives are constantly moving. We never have the second that just passed back again. And we cannot change anything that happened in that second. We can make a different choice. We can turn a different way, but we're still not back in that second or that moment. So we need to remember that life is always changing, and that the less we resist the change around us, the smoother our life will go. The less that we will be, as Holmes says, using the power of when we are in non-resistance, we are in harmony with the universe. As I used the examples earlier of not only quicksand, but swimming parallel to the riptide rather than trying to cross it, or turning into a skid when all of our natural reactions say to turn out of it. The universe is always showing us that resistance is futile, that it is our job to be with the flow and to continue with the flow. And the last thing to do if you're ever stuck in quicksand is to take your time. To take your time to look at what's going on around you. To take your time to just relax into that moment and to not panic. Most of the deaths in quicksand and also from riptides are when the person caught in the quicksand or the riptide have struggled to the point that they die from exhaustion, or in the case of a riptide, they've struggled to the point that they don't have the energy to continue to swim and they end up drowning. And if you think of your life when you have been in the most resistance to what's going on around you, it almost feels like death when we are resisting, because it's going to change anyway, whether we relax into it or not. So I think one of the hardest things sometimes is to give up that resistance to what is changing and how it's inevitable. And to me, the most important thing on both the riptide and the quicksand and in life in general is to take the time to relax. Just take the time to reflect on what is going on around you. And in order to give you a tool that allows you to take that moment to relax, we're going to do a little bit of a meditation. And this is a meditation by, and I can always say this guy's name in my head, but my tongue doesn't ever agree. Thich Nhat Hanh. I think he's a Vietnamese, wonderful spiritual person who has done some beautiful books and wonderful meditations. But this is one of my favorite meditations that he does. And I'm going to read it to you, and then we will talk about how to do this meditation. And it is basically breathing in, I calm my body. And as we breathe in, we do calm our bodies. We begin to feel ourselves to relax. And then breathing out, I smile. And then we smile as we breathe out. And then we breathe in again, saying, dwelling in the present moment. And breathing out, I know this is a wonderful moment. So just take a deep breath where you are, and we're going to do this 5 times. So just just relax into your moment, into this place where you are, and follow me as I say the words for you. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this present moment. I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this present moment. I know it is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this perfect moment. I know it is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this present moment. I know it is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in this present moment. I know it is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Knowing it is a dwelling in this present moment, I know that it is a wonderful moment. And thank you for joining us today.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of